What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining. Welcome to 100x or Die. I got another goodie here for us today. We are joined by Generative AI. These guys have been around for a bit, not too long in the crypto space, but just long enough to make some noise and noise they have made. Some of you are aware of them, some of you are not, but we're going to get into some good questions, talk to them. As always, guys, we're going to keep it short, sweet, the 30-minute recording with a little bit of a question period afterwards. So I encourage you and request that you keep all questions to the end. Let us do our little thing here, and then we'll find some time for a discussion afterwards. With that being said, ETH looks like it's going down a bit. Let me pull up the chart right here. Yeah, we're sitting at, what, 1553? I guess Powell had some comments today, shook up the markets a little bit, but overall, I think we're still strong. I think we got a little bit lower to go before we do get back into the swing of things, but the DeFi markets are still strong. These coins are still pumping, so I don't think it's going to bother us too much for now. As always, trade safely, be careful. If you guys have any questions, there's more than enough people in the room to help you. Don't make emotional decisions. Ask, take your time. This community is here to help everybody. And we always will be. That's what it's for. New traders, old traders alike. It's for everybody. With that being said, that's my little intro. I want to welcome GAI, Generative AI. These guys have been crushing it. I'm really happy to see what they're doing. Their website looks fantastic. Their work looks fantastic. On CMC, on CG, they're primed to go. I'm happy about it. And we'd like to introduce the two members, ZK and Cobb. You guys want to go ahead and say hello to everybody and maybe a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for the intro, Jay. Before we kind of do that, just want to kind of shout out some acknowledgements here. I see some familiar faces out in the crowd here. Nice. Ashu, our resident GI artist, is in here in this room. Want to kind of acknowledge Zubumi, one of the OG kind of community members. He's always analyzing the token, providing a very unbiased approach. Just love his work and really appreciative of that. It's pretty amazing. Just we launched maybe 3 weeks ago, and the community that's kind of being built here is pretty fantastic. Just some great bunch of people. Kind of came here for Web3, stayed for the people and the networking. So I wanted to acknowledge those people. Just kind of start off. I'm ZK. I've run various dev shops, for the past few decades, both Web2, Web3. We kind of just came off of a successful B2B enterprise AI exit. We launched that in 2019. It's related to computer vision and machine learning. It's actually running globally on multiple continents. So it is mission critical. So I can't kind of get into details there, but we've been in AI for quite some time, not just kind of following this hype wave. And with that, keep it short and simple. I'll send it over to Cobb.
Thanks, Steve. I mean, for the last 10 years, about 8 of those, I've actually known ZK. We've worked together. He and myself kind of ran separate dev shops at some point in time. We started working together on a few of our projects, and eventually it made sense to merge our efforts, and we've been really working together ever since. Really enjoyed that computer vision ML project that he had mentioned. It was quite the rollout. I'm a big tech guy. I love just shipping things. That's really what I'm passionate about. Trying to figure out what the next big thing's going to be, and finding an angle that no one else is really thinking about is really how I look at it. And with that, we can get right into generative, what it is, what exists today, and what our plans are. So ultimately, we see generative as a decentralized app store, right? So today, users can go sign in with their wallet and immediately generate AI art from our catalog of text-to-image models. We have 8 right now, with plans to add more in the new future. So you get an image that's fantastic. What do you do with it? You can immediately list it for sale in a gasless fashion as an NFT, and of course categorize it into collections. You could mint it yourself if you want to. You can put it up for sale and actually receive royalties from the sales of that. Now that's all interesting. That's really what the beta product that we've shipped to date does. We do have other features and other plans in mind. This product goes much further than that. I don't know, Jay, maybe I should get into like the state of the AI industry, just in, not even just Web3, but just in general, and like where's this whole text to image generation
Yeah,
business.
that would be great. Before you do, I just wanted to say about the community. You mentioned, you came for Web3, you stayed for the people. I love hearing that because that's close to my heart, because it's the same. I was just saying to Jerry from Legacy this morning that I love the room. People are so supportive, and it's nice to just have a community. And then it's also comforting to hear you guys have that AI experience. Many teams outsource the building. So having the 2 team members who have tons of experience, project management, like you mentioned, is huge. And yeah, so since you have that experience, I think it's a great opportunity to lend some, to drop some info bombs on the room as to where you see things going. So yeah, I'd love for you to take it away and just discuss everything.
For sure. I think really the first thing is just to talk about, where do these AI models come from, right? We saw it over the last year, with DALL-E Mini, Stable Diffusion, Disco Diffusion, even before then, and Midjourney. And really, I think kind of the untold story here is these large AI companies have essentially scraped the internet, taken pieces of work from artists, from stock photo providers, from you name it. Probably some photos you've posted on the internet at some point might be in this training set that's used to train it, and they've done a lot of processing on it and produced a model that lets us generate these images you see today, right? Now, one of the I'm not going to say problems, but one of the downstream effects of doing this is a lot of artists said, hey, wait a second, my art has contributed to this model, and I'm just basically out of luck for this. People are kind of using a part of my art in some form to generate new works. And when we saw that conversation happening, we said, there might be something there, right? Does the business model of these large AI companies have to be that? What if we gave tools for artists to either make their own models or potentially just be compensated for being involved in it, their works being trained into it somehow? And from there, the logical jump was into Web3. What we're talking on a scale of potentially hundreds, if not thousands, of people contributing to something. What's a better way to disperse funds to that many people, right? So that really led us to the inception of Generative, saying, hey, if we provide the right incentives to people to make these models, it won't just be large corporations that are making it. They can potentially own some of that material and have a revenue stream or methods of compensation by just creating the model and letting people use it and interact with it. And that's how we landed at the on-chain royalties for models. It's just something that, again, I don't think was really being thought about. It's something that is really unique to our platform and our approach to it, right? Because again, in the long term, this open source approach of artists collaborating together and having financial incentive to make the best models is going to win over these closed source, well-funded models. We've seen it in the open source model elsewhere. We've seen it like Red Hat and other organizations. The open source model in the long run does win.
Yeah, and in my opinion, that's the nature of the internet, is that open source community-based spirit. And you're right, that's where you get the most adoption from, is providing people the tools to do it themselves as opposed to just a subscription-based system. I think it's fantastic. It's ingenious. I like where you guys are headed for it. And you think about other projects. Everybody knows of Pink Sale. Why stuff like that is big? Not because of what they are. It's because they give people the tools to do it themselves, right? Then everybody. And not only that, it contributes to where the overall space is going. So I really like to hear it. I really think that's such a great and unique perspective that you guys took.
Yeah, we're hugely passionate about like the Web3 side of things. What it stands for. Self custody, being in charge of your own information. I really do believe in that kind of Web3. Sure, there's a lot of like FUD going around with typical media, but I kind of present, maybe that's a bit of like a conspiracy theory, but it's kind of like all the institutions that are fighting back because everyone kind of having control, having their own sovereignty of their information, their creations, their art.
Yes.
It's hugely
Yes.
powerful, and we absolutely believe that. I think the biggest joke in AI right now is OpenAI. Is 90% owned by Microsoft. They just threw $10 billion at it. It should be called closed AI because there's nothing open source about it anymore.
Yeah, and you guys are entirely right. And I'm a huge believer in decentralization. So I'm in hook, line, and sinker, and I just absolutely love hearing that from other people who are developing in this space, because that's, to me, we've everybody knows what happened with FTX, and even though people were aware of the perils, I think that was the first drastic, real experience that most people who joined during the bull market, in the DeFi summer, seen it up front, what could happen. So the idea of being decentralized, making these tools accessible to anybody, so that they can create and own and monetize. It's doing so much for this space, and I'm always going to champion those causes because they're incredibly important. And if we don't support those projects, we're going to be herded into centralization and be told what we can do and what we can use and not own anything. You hear a lot of things from, I think it's the IMF, or there's the World Economic Forum. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy. If we don't support these projects, that's where we head. So you say it's the conspiracy angle, but I'm huge into that, and I know the truth is always somewhere in the middle, but that does scare me. It does keep me up at night because as I get deeper and deeper into Web3, it's these things are more and more revealed to me and illuminated for me to see for myself. So I'm just overall happy to hear that from you guys. And I think that was kind of my second question, like about what makes AI, or what makes GAI different than other AI-based cryptocurrency projects. Is there anything else that makes you guys different?
Yeah, we should also touch on the plan for where these images actually come from, right? So there's the model outside of it. I think we understand that now. Artists are going to collaborate and produce new and interesting models. We already see that today, on other Web 2 platforms, and we're working to bring those artists onto our platform and give them, like I said, a means of monetization. But further than that, the other element where we're very different is actually on the generation of an image. So, it comes from a model, but somebody actually has to do the work. Generating these images is very GPU intensive. So we're proposing here a model of decentralizing GPU power for the purposes of generating AI pieces of work, not just art, of course, other forms of media, text-based and whatnot. So it's also decentralizing the AI workload side of this as well.
That's so to kind of further on that point, the idea is really kind of decentralizing, currently what AWS or Amazon Web Services, their cloud provider, does in a centralized fashion. We're looking at approaching this with a decentralized mindset. So we've already been working on a POC here. We're just kind of pounding away and just figuring out the scale and how it fits the rest of the compensation structure. But yeah, I would say that's primarily the technical difference between us and some other AI-based projects that we see out there. To be honest, most of them are just like an API, kind of slapped on to some sort of social media platform. but yeah, we're looking at building it out beyond just the novelty of creating the images. I think everybody's kind of interacted with something like Midjourney or ChatGPT. You know, the technology is fascinating, but what happens after that? The utility kind of just disappears, and it kind of fades away. So I think that's, by having the NFT marketplace and our vision going forward, it's going to provide us with the a long runway here to further develop out this project.
I agree. And I'd like to point out, and I do admit that a lot of this stuff is over my head. By no means am I an expert, but from what I'm understanding, I'm thinking it's important because we see a lot of saturation in the market with these AI cryptocurrency projects, and that's why I wanted to ask the question, what makes you guys different? So if I'm understanding correctly, a lot of these guys are outsourcing. They're getting other developers to put it together. They're using an API plug, where you guys, because of your experience, you're actually attempting a new strategy on how to develop it with GPUs, and you guys are actually working together on that. So, you can make the changes on the fly because of your experience.
Yeah, definitely. There's less platform risk here, right? So let's say that OpenAI or other platforms that are currently running their infrastructure just decide that tomorrow we're going out of business. They would be scrambling to come up with an equivalent, right? And we're in a position where with this GPU network, in this grand soul of decentralization, in theory, you would not be able to take that down, and you would not be able to stop the generations of images and other AI works.
Ah, interesting. And yeah, I've noticed projects are different. Yours is very quick to generate. I've seen where it takes 2 to 3 minutes on some other projects, and ultimately that's not a long time. But when you're seeing that it can be done almost instantly, you know that there's a difference going on there.
Yeah, it's always about trade-offs too, right? Like, do you want to wait? If people have to wait a couple seconds longer for a better image, they probably will. Or if maybe there's a tier where if you don't need your image right away, it's a little cheaper. Those kind of mechanisms can also come into play there. But yeah, image generations are free at the moment. We plan to keep on extending that. We love what people are generating on the platform. We've seen some just incredible collections. One call out, I don't think I see Clippy in the audience here, but actually used a Spider-Verse AI model to generate portraits of all the presidents as a collection and list it up there. Just, again, something that we hadn't expected. As far as I know, Clippy has no previous artist experience, and it's just loved to put that together and present it to the community. And it was just, again, one of those things that just blows us away with what people are producing and listing with the platform in its current state.
Dude, and that's what I meant by when you give a community these tools, just to see what they do. It's kind of like game developers giving people like a sandbox game to build, and kind of just letting it go and seeing the direction it heads into and what people do with it. And especially with with the power of AI itself, you can have people who aren't graphic designers just get really good with the prompts, get really good how and what they're doing with the system, and then build these beautiful things. You don't need, a background in it. You just need to know how to use the prompts, right?
Yeah, it reminds me actually of, Ratatouille. Anyone can cook. It's anyone can, list and make art, or anyone can express themselves creatively.
Yeah, I love it. I love playing around with each and every one. We've had so many. I personally think that you guys are very strong. I mean, I'm all in, as you can tell by this AMA. So I think you guys are doing fantastic. I do have a question here about some of the competition. When considering that, right, you guys are an NFT marketplace. I just did a screenshot of some of the recently listed works, which is super cool. What is your strategy against the big guys if they're starting to use AI in their platform, such as OpenSea?
That's a great question, Jay. Yeah, we touched on the other AI projects, but we kind of have that real true crypto crossover here with the NFT marketplace. And yeah, the big guys in the space would be OpenSea. It's interesting. I would say OpenSea right now, they're way too busy battling with Blur and their other competitors. You know, I doubt that they'll be able to move quick enough to enter the AI space, but I've been wrong before. I think the challenge with OpenSea is that they're one size fits all. So they got like a massive volume on the, not the AI generative, but your kind of NFT projects like the 10Ks, you know, the secondary sales there. And I mean, just kind of look at their track record. Like, you know, they just even talking about like creator royalties, there's massive backlash. Like they're fighting a battle. You know, for those people that don't have NFT experience, like Blur kind of came out. They weren't the first, but they kind of shot like the first real kind of shot across the bow of OpenSea, and that was just on royalties. And you know, royalties was like a big issue, and you know, a lot of the one-of-one artists believe like that's the only way they can sustain themselves, and I do support that. And OpenSea kind of like fought Blur. So Blur came up with the option of no royalties. OpenSea said, all right, no problem. We're going to build this program that will blacklist any marketplace from selling a particular collection. Everybody kind of rallied behind OpenSea there. And eventually kind of push came to shove. Just recently, OpenSea basically backtracked all of that because Blur came out with their own software to basically say we're going to blacklist OpenSea. So I think OpenSea kind of changed course there. They've now made royalties pretty much optional. I think the minimum is like 0.5%. So that kind of flip-flopping, I think they have a bit of an existential crisis on their hands. So they're not going to be able to move quick enough. So going back to the AI question, you know, I mean, I don't think they'll be able to get into the AI space, because if they do, the backlash that they had on the royalties, it's going to be 10x if they decide to allow people to kind of commoditize the one-of-one artists. They have like a massive one-of-one. You know, there's a lot of artists on there that kind of are anti-AI, and that kind of one-size-fits-all just isn't going to work for their business model. So they're going to be slowed down by that. And hey, you know what? If they want to enter the AI space, I'd be glad for them to come in. Maybe we can even host their AI models for OpenSea. So yeah, maybe we'll end up being the computing power for OpenSea there. So you know, my vision is not to face OpenSea or any of the other NFT marketplaces head on. My focus is that we're working on changing the entire NFT game.
Yeah, well said. And you know, my personal opinion, I feel that even though OpenSea is, you know, bills himself as a decentralized marketplace, the profit model and the royalties have kind of centralized their platform, where it's become, you know, like a Binance is considered a DEX, but it's not. It's centralized, right? It's all within their system for them, and it takes it away. So you guys are focusing on, you know, monetizing it for the creators. So even though OpenSea does that, I don't think that's their main goal. That's not their main priority. Where you guys seem like you're coming from a decentralized aspect to champion everything that it stands for. So I think that's great. So what can we expect from you guys in the near future regarding developments? We've heard what you've got already. What should be coming up in the near future?
Really exciting question. I mean, we have the kind of roadmap laid out. It's a bit of a not a white paper, but more of a light paper. We will be publishing more technical details on what we're hoping to accomplish in the future here. One thing I will commit to is that we'll frequently provide development updates. So even our own Twitter Spaces, ideally we kind of like release like weekly cadence dev updates, and we kind of inform the community, this is what we worked on last week, here's what we launched. You know, when we kind of you know, launched the token as well as the platform 3 weeks ago, we didn't consider that as like job done. We've done this because the project, like, we're only starting. This is the beginning. You know, we didn't want to kind of build up hype and say we're going to deliver XYZ and then make people wait months and months to, like, you know, pump up a token. We launched the token and basically provided the platform a week later. And then since the launch 3 weeks ago, I'll just kind of touch on some of the items that we released. We released the ability, actually, one of our artists and OG community supporters launched their own generative AI art collection of 800 pieces. And they came back and said, hey, the platform only allows me to kind of list items for a price, and I want to give this away for free. So we turned that around in a week and made that an option. So free minting or free listing option is available for our users. We've launched open editions, so the ability to make one particular NFT available to a limited number of copies. We've added 5 additional AI models, continued with the UI UX improvements based on our community. We actually have kind of this ability to kind of attribute our improvements to the platform, and we actually cite the users in our community that the bug fixes or the UI improvements are attributed to. So yeah, Clippy was one of them that Cup just mentioned. We also just launched a Twitter sales bot, so now people can kind of keep track of platform sales. So those are just some items, kind of name a few. But what I kind of want to say is that what we won't provide is like empty promises. So if the feature is not a few weeks away and we're like relatively ready and confident to like actually release it to the public, we're going to remain silent on it. Crypto is very competitive. A lot of people can just like copy and paste. We already have like scam websites and everything like that. So, unless we're ready to release it, we're going to stay relatively silent on it, just to protect our community and our project itself. But just keep in mind, if we're going to say we're going to deliver it, you can be assured it's going to be available in the next few weeks or very, very soon.
Yeah, and I wholeheartedly agree with that. Just this morning, I've seen a bunch of drama going on with some other tokens moving to Shibarium, and arguments about who was first to come up with the idea, because they announced their idea and somebody else who was ready and had a team went and did it, right? So I completely get that, and I also like it. And you do that long enough, your community really builds up a lot of confidence in you guys. So I think what you're doing is great. I'm excited to see what's coming up. With anything, is there anything else that you guys want to add?
That covers it for me in terms of like timeline. Want to kind of keep things concise. We're still going to have like multiple spaces. We're going to be on some more AMAs going forward here. So just really excited and really appreciate the forum here that you've provided for us to chat. Of
course, I'm gonna make a post, send out a tweet, and get the message out there that I'm officially behind you guys and helping out the project here. I did want to bring up we've timed a few of these AMAs with these really strong developmental projects, heavy on the utility. And I wanted to mention the J curve again, guys. I think that we're at that part. We've had the massive run up and now we're consolidating. And from what I've seen, I know these guys are hard at work and they're going to continue to deliver. They've also just picked up the marketing, as you see, with the AMA. So I would really encourage everybody to take a good look. Don't rush and do anything that you're not sure of. Be safe, ask questions, but I would take a heavy look at getting involved and buying the token. And more so, you guys mentioned you want people to use the platform. You know what I mean? That's your biggest goal, correct?
Yeah. Thanks, Jay. I absolutely love the energy. So completely positive. What I want to kind of highlight is that we're a team of devs. We actually know each other IRL. We're not completely decentralized in the sense of, the development isn't just in different silos. We work well together. Not to say as we grow, we're against that, but I think the core team needs to, be able to sit face to face and work together. But we're deeply rooted in AI and Web3. We're really focused in terms of our passion on delivering like the best product available. Right now, I think we are the actual number one kind of crypto AI project that actually has real crypto utility. And we're just going to kind of focus on that. We generally avoid any price action discussions, and really the only thing I could ask for is growing the community. Just like the barrier entry is so low. Just hop on the website, check it out. You'll be able to kind of like plug in a few words, and that's it. That's all you need. Just a few words, and you'll be able to kind of mint your first NFT piece. So the barrier entry is very low. There should be no excuses on this one.
And just to add to that too, we're also doing daily contests where we pick a theme, and whoever generates the best image as voted, we give out an award. Right now it's 0.1 ETH. It's pretty good. We've seen some incredible submissions. Again, it costs absolutely nothing. You don't even need to connect to like your existing wallet. The wallet can just be like a brand new burner wallet if that's your concern. It happens in our Telegram and on Twitter, but please just try to participate in that. It is a fantastic thing to see everybody contributing to it and trying to win the prize. Today's, GK, do you remember what today's was? It was a car that you would drive in 2100. So
yeah,
that's just cool.
So we're doing that. We've done things you'd bring to a desert island, all kinds of different themes. But today, just go generate something in that theme, post it in our Telegram, post it on Twitter. We'll take a look at it, and if it's selected as one of our favorite entries, you get a chance to win the 0.1 ETH.
For sure. And we're going to be updating 100x now. I'll make sure these guys are aware of all those, because it's super easy and fun. And I have no doubt that once you take 1 minute to go look at everything these guys have built, you'll be extremely impressed. And considering everything we talked about, most importantly in my head is that these guys are putting the users first, and they're championing, I should say, that decentralized model, and listening to their community, and just generating awareness of the project. So I'm really hyped with it. And with that, I'm going to say thank you guys, and I'm going to end the recording. So it's a pleasure.